I've learned that telling the truth doesn't create chaos. It reveals it. And it's not per se about what you see, it's more about what you do with it, like how you move with it that makes a difference. What I mean with that is I have a gift that for the first period of my life felt like a burden. And I think a lot of people would understand what I'm trying to refer to when I say black sheep. I don't really use that term for myself. I never been officially called that way, but yeah, I definitely learned that I was different very early on, and I definitely felt like an outsider. Always got into trouble with fighting for justice, having an opinion, calling out what I felt like wasn't honest and truth and integrate, and oftentimes turned out to become the villain of the story. And luckily, I stopped being tied to that drama and started taking ownership over my life and really started to take ownership in the idea of, hey, I am not a victim. And it actually is an invite for me to raise my standards even more of who I allow in my life, on a personal but also on a business level. Doesn't mean that I still don't see things, right? Where I feel like, that's not really what's happening here, or I can clearly see what's happening here. But I've learned to distinguish when I speak up and when I don't. And when I choose to not speak up, I do that very intentionally too, because it's simply not worth my battle, or because I can see from the other party that they're not gonna, they don't have that integrity, or they're not able to see it because they don't want to. It's not about being right or wrong. It's more about having this very clear, yeah, I want to say gift, where you can just cut through the bullshit, where you can just see what is truth and what's not, where you can see, um, you know, the untruths, the hey, this doesn't add up, and I will point it out, not to create chaos, but to clear that very honestly, like, hey, this is what I see, this is where it doesn't add up, and if that creates disruption, if that creates chaos, it's not mine to carry. And in the past, when I was younger, I would carry it. I would feel like the villain because people would project it on me because I was the one calling it out, right? And I learned that not only was that not the truth, I also learned that it's okay if they think it is, but I don't have to carry that. And that distinction of no matter how people perceive it, if you do end up speaking your truth, it's not something you have to carry that's huge, because that filters so much energy out of your life that you should not be carrying, and it will gain you so much in general energy to just enjoy life and have the energy for life, because you're not wearing all those projections and you're not in the naughty corner, as I would put it. And I also learned, and I do that often with friendships, that like when I do speak to friends about things that bothered me about whatever, because I don't have a relationship right now with a man. So I would do the same thing if I would have that personal relationship with a man. I do that with my son too, but now most relationships are with my friends. So that's why I say that if something happens. Not so long ago, I made a beautiful episode on that. I, with all those situations, fell through like, okay, do I want to say something or not? And with one connection in particular, I said no. And that was clearly because I felt like cannot see the truth. And this is also how I understand and accept that our friendship will not grow into more than just baseline. And that's fine, because I don't have to go in depth with someone. If I really want to be in that connection, then it requires for both parties to really be honest, open, and have a form of integrity and a willingness to look at each other honestly. Both other relationships, they are just blossomed because I did choose it, and they welcome that too. In this particular scenario where I'm referring to, and the reason why I felt inspired to share the story, it was business related. And so certain things didn't add up. I am not here, like, my intention is not here to be relatable to you guys. It's not to be like, oh my God, yes, I was, a black sheep too, or I still am, and going to that victimhood or sharing all those stories and how we can relate. No, I'm here to talk to you guys how to empower yourself into that leadership, because it is a freaking gift. I'm using this gift of seeing truth and being very, very discreet and integrate every day. And I have friends who now tune into my channel, and everyone so far have said, Ash, the way you talk to me is exactly the way you talk on the camera. And I love that because I see you. I see who you truly are. There is no description, like there's no filter between you and me. There's no filter between an audience I can't see and how I talk to my best friend, right? And so I'm like, no, it's a gift because it's not easy to do. It's a gift because I actually help people with that. I help them with seeing their own BS and their own blocks and their own justifications, and in a very loving way, because there's never a judgment. Show them the truth so that they can move forward, so that they can see what they're holding on to without really realizing that. And because I, thank God, understood at a certain age, like, hey, I am not a victim of this story. And actually, I choose to see this burden as a gift. It became more and more as a gift, It helped me also to have the right people in my life, because people do fall away when they don't measure up to that level of honesty. And I'm not saying perfection, because I don't expect my friends and the people in my life to be perfect, and I don't expect them to change, nothing like that. It's more that when something does come to play, I need to be able to speak to them about that openly. They need to be open for feedback. They need to be open to have a conversation. And that's the same thing when I do business, right? And so for me, if the other party doesn't feel trustworthy because they, whatever they say and do doesn't add up, I don't feel like I can trust them, and that can disrupt the relationship. And therefore, I have to speak up, right? Or I will just put them in the corner of, hey, nice to know you, but I keep you there at a distance because you don't have access to the next, like to a closer area in my life. And that's fine too. That personal leadership of that beautiful dance, that when something does happen in a relationship or a business related, and you feel something is off, what to do with that, how to handle that. And I experienced that the other day, and I acted on in a very professional and very honest way, basically saying, hey, this is what I see. Um, do with it whatever you want, but like I can't not ignore that, and then it's up for that person to do something with it or not. But it really is vital for that relationship, that business connection, because I see it as a business connection, if our relationship will actually blossom, or if it will be like doomed to fail from the get-go, and both ways are fine, because I chose to be open and honest because I'm actually building a bond here. And it's not about, hey, I'm being confrontational, or I'm looking for chaos and I want to disrupt that. No, it was a very clear understanding of, well, if I feel like you're fooling me or trying to fool me or not being honest, I will give you the chance to explain first. um but I'd rather just have you be honest, and then we can actually build a connection and a relationship. But if not, then I'm sorry, but then we cannot do business together. And a part of me was like, why am I exposing this? Like, I'm not asking for this either, And then I was like, well, what I'm exposing isn't actually me. What I'm exposing is something with the other party. And that's why I had that introduction. And in this case, I don't carry it. I don't feel the chaos. I don't even feel like I need to judge that person. I'm like, that person is human. They can make mistakes. It's fine. They don't, again, have to have the level of integrity and truth that I have, but I will give them a chance to, to give feedback and to make it better, and to work on this new relationship that we're building or not. This is not how I acted in the past. This is such a huge difference. I first had to let go of first the victimhood of why me, everybody's against me, or I can't speak fully and honestly because I felt like if I would get into trouble. And that brings me to the second one. I became the villain. So I had to let that go too. The villain of the story of, if I say something, then because the chaos is there is chaos then because people cannot always hold or handle the truth. And then who gets the blame is the person that exposes it. I started to a long journey it was, but I started to really dismantle all those projections and all those, how do you say that? Where I stood in life. I stopped carrying that, you know? I stopped putting that energy in my body. I stopped putting the projections in my body. I was very clear on, hey, this is not me. This is not for me to carry. That's for you to carry. That's your garbage. This is, my boundary. And yeah, sometimes I choose to not speak, but it's never to numb myself. It's because I don't feel that that can actually make a difference, and there is no need for it. But when you feel that there is a mutual understanding that people want to work together, either loving in a loving relationship or in a business relationship, either way, I have to distinguish that first before I really want to speak up and be like, okay, this is what I see. When there is an invite, and I see that with clients also in the past, when there's an invite that people want to learn, people are open for feedback. My God, they break open. Like the other lady that I helped the other day, who was just stuck in her business. It just gave me a few seconds, minutes to understand, like, this is what's going on. She was so willing to understand this, to accept the feedback that I gave, that it gave her this 180 shift in energy, but also practically in action to make changes. And I actually got her review last week where she said that, and where, because of my guidance, she was able to now finally see, okay, my financial freedom is in hands reach. And that was just 2 sessions that I did with her. So I know that it's a gift, but it's only a gift for the people that want to, accept feedback. They want to accept the parts of themselves that are holding them back, that are not honest. That is the tension. It could be chaos. It doesn't have to be chaos. It can be the biggest liberation. And it started with me because I have that gift. Accepting that I am who I am, and that I am not the villain. I'm definitely not the victim. And I don't have to put all those projections in myself. I can just stay in my own body, in my own sovereignty, in my own integrity, in my own truth, and let everybody else do whatever they choose to do. And that shift is also what I help people with, especially the ones that are here for a bigger mission, that are here doing big stuff. Because the more you do, the more you're being projected on. I actually get paid by people who want to hear the truth from me. And that's the crazy part, it's like, yeah, they actually pay me because they want to hear the truth, because they cannot really always see it. And therefore there's so much love in it, because not everybody does it on purpose. When you see things that are off, they're usually not even aware of that, where there is like a discrepancy of what they do and what they say and all of that. So anyway, I wanted to share this story because I really felt like, we often tell the story of, I was the black sheep, or now I'm the goat and look at me shining. But I think what it really should be about is, you don't have to see yourself as a victim anymore. You don't have to see yourself as the villain either. And you don't have to carry everybody's projections onto you. And that what you see is simply the tension of what is not working for that person or for that relationship or whatever. And that's it. And that it is a gift, and that it is something that you can truly harness as a gift. And if you ever need help to move more into that realm, to really truly own who you are, let me know, because that's what I do best. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you tomorrow in a new episode.